Hey guys, welcome to the video. So today we're going to be discussing a very awesome topic in Python. So this is Tkinter. We use it to create software GUI applications. This is a very simple little program, and I will write it with you, but first we're going to see what it can do. So it opens up a GUI window, which you can move around and act in resize, and we have a default title here, and we have options for resizing and closing, and of course we can close the entire program. And as you can see, when you close the whole program in the actual terminal, Python terminal, it shuts down after you push the button. So that's a neat thing of Tkinter. It comes with its own control panel. So let's make sure we have the requirements that we need for this to work. You're going to need Python 3 for this. So you're going to want to go to the internet and type in python.org. Then you're going to want to go and go to the download section and just download the latest version, which is going to be 3.8.5. Once you have that downloaded on Mac or Mac or Windows, you can just start doing what I'm doing, unless you don't have pip set up, but that's another topic for another video. So today we're going to be going over just Tkinter. So if you want to download Python on Linux, you have to use sudo apt.get install Python 3, or you might want to update your Python. Either way will work. So once you have Python 3 downloaded, we can start coding this, okay? So this will basically, this line of code here, win.main loop, this keeps the window running. So this will keep the application up. As you can see, if we were to get rid of this and we run this program, it just shuts right down and we don't get any GUI, because as soon as this line of code right here is read, the entire program is just shut down, and so it can't actually display anything. So you need this to keep the window open. And what this is doing is we're just defining the variable win, and we're just setting it equal to Tkinter, the main GUI. And up here we are importing Tkinter as TK, so we're just shortening the actual name for the model Tkinter into just TK, so we can use it into we can use it in highly large files, like large Python files. And here we're just importing everything from Tkinter. Okay, so now that we got the basics down, let's add some style to our page, because here we just have a default page. So let's give it a title, and here you say win.title, and then you pass in a string in here. Let's call it my app. And if we make this, now you can see that instead of the plain old TK, we have my app. We can do more. We can change the geometry of the app, so a GUI. So we have to pass in a string here, and to specify the size of it. This first number is its width, and the second number, which I have to use x, so it's let's say 500 pixels is what this is, times 600 pixels. Okay, so this is going to be width, and this is height. As you can see when I run the thing, the 600 pixels is larger, meaning it's height, and the 500 is shorter, meaning it's width. So we can customize this to however you want. And say you don't want this window to be, you don't want the user to be able to change the size of it so that it's always the same unique style. You can say resizable, and then you say you have to pass in width is equal to false. So you're creating a bool variable here, and you are setting it to false. And you're going to set height to false. And now, if we run this, we do not have the scale, the resize option here. And we also, if we go to the edge of this screen here, we do not have the option to move or resize our app at all. So it'll stay this size forever, basically. This is going to be its size. But if we don't want it to just have, maybe we'd only want to make it so we can't move, the width of it, but we can move the height. We can set this, and now we have the ability to resize it, but we do not have the ability to resize it on the width, only the height. So you can mess around with this, play around with this. For now, we're just going to set everything to false, to show you some more features that this allows you to do. So let's get right into some actual fun colors, okay? So let's create a frame. For this, I'm going to say main frame, and I'm going to set this equal to tk.frame. This will create a small small kind of like, if you ever work with HTML, it's like a div. It's a section of the GUI, and we can make it unique to what we want. So we have to, every time you create a new element, you have to make sure you put it in the window, okay? Because Tkinter works with layers. So this is a layer. Win is a layer. You can also, if we made like a label down here, right? We could then put the label inside the main frame. So that's why you have to specify this. So then we can set the width of this equal to let's say 500 pixels wide and 500 pixels tall. And then we also can specify background color, so we can say BG, which stands for background, and then we can put in something here. We're gonna do RGB since it's easy to work with without a web browser. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna say that the RGB is gonna be 50, 40, and 60. Okay. So why are we getting this color here? And this is because we put PX. We can't put that there. And now it's not gonna give us any errors, and we say main frame, and now we do .hack. Now watch what happens if we run this without this code right here, main frame.hack. If we run this, we get an error, unknown color, RGB. So what we want to do is we can just pass in a default color. Let's just pop in red for now. And now if we make it happen, as you can see, we don't get anything back. But if we take this line and we put it back in, we can see that as long as we close the program and we run it again, now we have this red part of the website that is packed in, just like this. And this would always say right here, because we can't resize it, so this is going to be how our app looks forever. That's cool. So let's change this color so it's not so bright. Light blue, do they have that option in their database? They do. Okay, so we have a light blue. Okay. Let's add something to, let's add another one, okay? So let's work with labels. So let's say label. So let's just go over what we have so far. This right here is a small part of the page that we can section off, and we can put our own content in it, and we can style it with whatever colors we want, and this becomes its own section of the GUI, and we can make it take up however much we want, all that good stuff, okay? And then over here we are making it so we can't resize the window, and we're setting this is setting the size of the window. This is giving this window a title. This is initializing the actual window, and over here we're importing all the stuff, and this is the most important one. Besides this one, the second most important, it is keeping the entire window working when we try to run the program. So let's set this label, which is going to be a text holder. We're going to set this equal to tk.label, capital L. Okay, and now we're going to put this in a window again, and we're going to give it a text value of, let's say, welcome to my app. And if we run the program again, like we said, it will not actually work. There won't be any, it will work, but there won't be a label here because we didn't place it. So we need to give it some more, we can give it some more functions. So we can say foreground, and we can set this equal to red, I believe. Do that. Yep. Okay. And we can now let's run this. Okay. So let's put it in the actual frame. Okay. Now we have just packed it in there, and as you can see on the very bottom, we have welcome to my app. And say you don't want this to be at the bottom, you want it to be at the top. Well, you could just take this out and then put it up here and then rerun it. And as you can see now, it's on the top. But what you could do instead is you could actually, let's now do a label dot place. And this will take pixels and stuff, and so it will work for this kind of stuff. If we go over the documentation right here, we can say place Tkinter. And as you can see, we can read about it right here. So what you can do with this is you give it a rel x, a x coordination, an x coordinate, a y coordinate, and an anchor. And so if like you can put a lot of different stuff in here. So we have a label here, and it has some text, and we're packing it, and all this good stuff. So let's start working with this. Okay. Let's get this code and import it and see what it does for us. Now we need to make sure that we have to make sure it is the right. Okay, we're using it what we want. We're doing all this stuff and NE. Now where is NE in this thing? We don't have any NE, so that's how it stands for. Yeah, that stands for like an anchor center. NE must be northeast. Yeah, that's coordinations. Okay, so to run this, we can see that it's not actually on the screen. And we want it to be on the screen. So if we look at this, we have some more options. We can center it. So let's try that. Let's try center. What happens if we run this? We still don't get anything. Now the reason for this is because what we are doing is we are running it. This is running after, so it's probably going to be blocking the screen. Yep, that's what has happening. Okay, so now you can actually see the program. You can see the label, so we can move this. So if we say, what happens if we put a 3 value in there? Now it's gone. But what if we put a -3? Still gone. So let's put a 1 in here, and then let's run that. We got it back. Okay. What does this one do? What does this do? Okay, so this is rel x, y. Okay, so let's try moving it. So let's try putting it 50 and 50. Okay, now we're pushing it over there. Let's try -50s. So yeah, this is kind of like kind of sensitive, pixel sensitive, which is why I don't really like using it that much. I personally use this method right here. It's called .grid, and here you specify column and row. So let's try this out. So let's set column is equal to 1, and let's set row is equal to 2, and if we run this, okay, so the reason we're getting this error is simple. We are asking it to we're asking it to put this thing in so let's try putting it in a frame, okay? That's main frame. And here we go. We get it right in the center. Okay? So, but what happened here is we got rid of the background. But it's still actually there. We just, since this is a filling, this fills the frame. This is no longer here because we just got rid of it with a filler. So it's really simple why that happens. So what does this do? Well, this creates a text node. And if we do got grid on this one too, We can do column is equal to 2, and row is equal to 2, and we can run this. And now it's on the side here because it's inside of this and we're moving it around. So that's also something you can do. You can just pack this in there and move it along correspondence to this. So that's a lot of things. This is creating a what is this? It's a section. This is creating a section. Okay. So we got a slash layer. So we got a label and we got a section. But in my opinion, these aren't very, they're not very, they don't do a lot for us, right? Though this might help the user understand what's going on and all that, but let's make this thing have some function to it. So let's get into entry, okay? So let's look into entries. Basically, when you go to a website, okay, and let's go to this website, you can see we have a search bar right here, and we can put in whatever we want in here, okay? This is a search bar, and it is also known as an input. And so an entry is basically an input for Tkinter. So let's try entry is equal to tk dot capital E entry. And if we put this in here, we gotta assign it to a layer. And now let's give it let's just let it be like that. Let's give it a BG, and let's set this equal to yellow so you can see it. Okay? And we need to make sure we place it or pack it. And now we run it, and we have a entry or input field here. But at the moment, we can't actually do anything with this. So watch. If we do anything, we type in this. We can't get rid of it. We can't enter it. It's just kind of like it's not we can't do much with it right now, right? So let's make it usable. Let's add some function to it. So for this, we're gonna make a button way down here. We're gonna say button. I'm gonna set this equal to tk dot button. And if we now pass it into the window, we can give it some text. So let's set it equal to the text equal to test. And let's give it a foreground, which is going to be the font color. Let's set this equal to red. And now let's make it green. And let's specify let's packet. And we need to do one more thing to make sure that it will actually work. So we have to do command. This will give us the ability to actually run a function in Python when we click on the button. So let's run start test. And we go over here and we make a diff, which is a function of start test. And now let's put some code in here, okay? So let's make a variable. Real quick. So let's just say new node text. Let's just say new text. We're not making this huge here. Okay, we're gonna say new text is equal to, and now we're gonna take the data from this entry field here. Because if we just print, I won't do that because it's gonna give us an error. But if we just print this, it will just give us the actual location of it. It won't actually really give us the data inside of it. So to get the data, we have to say entry.get, and this tells the Tkinter that we want to take what's inside of it. And you can take different stuff, but by default it takes the text. So now let's make a new label. Set this equal to tk.label. And inside here, we're going to give it a layer, and we are going to give it a text. And instead of setting this to leaving it like this, we're going to say new text. And we're going to give it a foreground equal to green. And now let's pack it. So we'll just do .pack, and we run it. And here we go, we got a test button here, and if we put down this and we run it, we get the. So let's try this many times. We can do the pumpkin was so so let's try something sweet. And now we get this new label, and as you can see, it just keeps creating multiple labels and labels. And so if you ended up running this a billion times, it would take up your entire screen and you would not be able to see anymore, right? So we can so you gotta be careful about using this kind of stuff, because it will end up making a mess of your window. So you can also you can put this in some kind of for loop that only checks to see how many, and deletes them if they get to a certain amount. You could do that. If you want a tutorial on that, I can give you one, but for now we're just going to be learning the basics of this, and we'll be learning how to give it up and how to run it, okay? So now you learned how to activate a function with a button. You learned how to get data from an entry field. You learned how to place tests and text and all that. Resize the screen. So let's learn, while we still have a few minutes left, let's learn a key concept. So this is going to be making the actual file runnable. So since we have this program, let's navigate to the folder. And let's create a new folder with the app, because we built it together, okay? And now let's paste this in. Okay, let's run a terminal here. Okay, so for this you're gonna need to say pip, if you're on Mac, or you're gonna say pip install pi installer, okay? But if you are on Mac or Linux like me, you're gonna say pip 3 install pi installer, just like this, and I have all my packages are already satisfied, but for you it will download it. So we're going to say pi installer, and we're going to grab this application. So we're going to say pi installer application and .py, and we run this, and we are now creating a bunch of folders here. Let's give it a second to load and give it a second to build, and it's successful. And so now if we go to a dist folder and go to application, we have this runnable executable file here. And we click on it, boom, we just created a executable file out of Python. So this is no longer a Python file. We no longer need to have Python on a computer for this to run. And as you can see, it downloads the model, and it makes a C file, which is a C, programming language C, and it creates its GUIs, and it does all this, and all we gotta do is specify it in Python. And now we can type in I hope you learned a lot, and so just like that, we got a basic GUI app done. We can now make cool text here. We can store lists, and yeah, I mean, you can go far ways with this. You can create different stuff. You could import, import OS, and you could start use this to like clean files and all that good stuff. You could use this for a lot of stuff. You can use this to scrape websites. Like have this as a GUI to help scrape websites. You could have this as a data management store user stuff. You could use it. You could have a master password store, or you could use some MySQL. There's really a lot of possibilities, and this is a very awesome way to make it so that your users can use your program without needing Python, and you can create software or graphical user interfaces with Python now using Tkinter. So I hope this video taught you a lot. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you stick around on the channel, and maybe think about pushing the subscribe button and liking the video. Anyway, thank you so much for spending your time learning, and I'll see you on the flip side. See you later. Bye.